Hello everyone, my name is Emily Artful, and this is my 2016 sketchbook. Now, originally I was going to have Mr. Artful go through and narrate what he saw. We did record it and went through the whole process, but if you guys didn't already know, Mr. Artful is incredibly shy, and there were a lot of moments where he froze up and didn't really know what to say, so we had to edit out certain parts, which cut pages short, and it was just kind of a big mess. So we both agreed that it might be better if I go through the sketchbook on my own. Not only that, but I wasn't with Mr. Artful the entirety of 2016, so a lot of these sketches would be completely out of context to him, so it's just easier that I do it on my own. Now, I actually got this idea from a YouTuber named Sketchy Trav, where he actually had his wife go through his sketchbook, and it was just a really cute, fun idea, a good way to, it kind of was almost like a husband-boyfriend tag in a way, because you get to see the other person look like into the soul, essentially, of their spouse, and it was just kind of cute, and I really liked the idea, so that's where I got the idea from. We may do a different take on it. I may go through Mr. Artful's sketchbook at some point. Who knows? Now, I'm going to be very clear. My sketchbook isn't just reserved for sketches. Of course, it is mostly art, but there are also some lyrics in here. I wrote down, apparently, some appointments in here. There are quite a few things in my sketchbook. It's more an amalgamation of my year. It's not strictly traditional art. It's not just lyrics. It's everything. So I'm giving you guys that as a forewarning, and also that, you know, not everything in a sketchbook is going to be pretty, completed, and beautiful. My sketchbook, I think, is just a very good example of two different sides of me. The very strict, organized side where I want everything to be perfect and wonderful, and then the side of me that wants to be more efficient. So I have thumbnails that are really quick and sketchy, and they're on top of each other in different colors and things like that. It's just kind of everything that makes me me. And I'm going to try not to be too hard on myself, because I have improved a lot, especially in these last 5 months of this year. I've been really focusing on trying to improve my skill. So I'm not going to tear myself a new asshole like I did with my 7th grade sketchbook. That was purposely me trying to be hard on myself. So for this one, I'm just going to go through it and talk a little bit about each little section. So let's go ahead and open this bad boy and get started. All right, as you can see, the sketchbook started in February of 2016 and it ended in December. Over here you will see some color coding goodness. I ordered a big set of colored duct tape to organize my move. It helped so much. And then here's the first actual page of my sketchbook. Just kind of random stuff. I worked a lot this year on self-portraiture, and you could see that through the entirety of the sketchbook. I draw myself and my body a ton of times because I've never, ever really been able to draw myself. I don't know if it's cause I'm ugly or some shit like that, or I'm just fucking I can draw other people pretty good, but I just could never grasp drawing myself. So here are two really poor examples of me. And then Calamon! Digimon Tamers. Best Digimon season ever. Another little attempt at a self-portrait. There is this girl on Instagram. Oh my god, I'm forgetting her name right now. Oh, Painted Witch Designs, and she does these beautiful floral patterns with stippling and hatching, and I was just so intrigued by the way that she used her... I was just so intrigued by the way her stippling technique kind of was just really amazing, and I've always really been drawn to the stippling technique, so I attempted to do something very similar. I think this is probably one of my favorite pieces in my sketchbook, except for this. Vagina flowers. Ugh. This was not intentional, these tiny little vaginas. Tiny Johnnies, not intentional. Same with the peonies. God, peonies and tiny Johnnies. Okay, I need to, this is a really good song by the Studio Killers, and I drew their little mascot. Just kind of like this very Miyazaki-like character with noodly. I recommend this in your sketchbook. If you see something wrong with one of your sketches, feel free to write what's wrong with it. Some days I will be able to see errors in my artwork, and other days I will not. So the days that I can, definitely write it down. I always use a mirror when I'm doing sketches and things like that to make sure that I can see what's wrong. And then if I don't have a mirror on hand, I just flip it upside down, and that will usually help. I love this quote. It was on Pinterest, and it says, "Be the goth queen you wanted to be when you were 12." And I was just the cutest, little, most adorablest baby bat. And it's kind of funny because I have two modes. I have my like standard mode where I am just at home, I'm not wearing makeup, my hair's not done, I'm just wearing yoga pants and a long sleeve comfy shirt, and then I have I'm going out mode, and then that is split into two modes, which is like supreme goth queen of darkness, and then just toning it down. I learned to tone it down because I think I know my mom was not a big fan and is still not a big fan of that extravagance. She likes it on, I think, other people, but not so much on me, so I've learned to have a toned down version of that, and then my full-on goth mode. So I think I have successfully become the goth queen I wanted to be when I was 12. Girl on Pinterest, if you guys didn't know, I love doing ballpoint pen portraits. They are like my favorite thing to do, just to pass the time, and I think I'm getting pretty darn good at them. If we go over here, we can see me and my friend Ben as Rick and Morty characters. Goblin drawings, and then this is funny. I always wanted this to be the octopus's nose. I knew it was its body and its stomach and things like that, but I just wanted this to be a nose. Imagine it talking like this. People are dying and starving, and there's war, and look at our president, and this is what I want. Forget about the fate of our country. I want this to be real. New year, new me. Just kidding. I'm the same shitty person that I've always been. This sketchbook, surprisingly, I have to pat my back because there's a burp and it's stuck and it hurts. This sketchbook takes watercolor incredibly. This is the Daler and Rowney Cachet sketchbook, and it takes watercolor just amazingly. Like, there is minimal warpage. This, I really like this. I was trying to do like a Blues Brother Yakuza kind of thing, and my ink pen, my Pentel pocket brush or whatever, was running out of ink, and I got these really cool textures with it. I'd love to do a larger piece of this. Oh, look! Emotions! This was before I met my husband, by the way, and this is what my husband looks like, basically. But I was actually drawing the Nostalgia Critic, which is weird because the Nostalgia Critic doesn't have a gap between his teeth. But my husband does, so I just thought it was kind of interesting. My little character, that was the design I put on my Valentine's cards for last year. This over here, I was just doing some facial doodling. I really like this one. I don't know what it is about her. It's attractive to me. Some more fun doodling. These are the Winsor & Newton inks, I believe. I was testing if they mixed, the skin tones mixed. All right, and if you're seeing some transfer, I definitely got water on this sketchbook on more than one occasion, so heads up. Oh, and this little guy, beep, 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 beep. I'll talk about him in a second. I don't know what it is about it. It just started out as kind of a chameleon, and then it turned into more of a Chinese dragon, but not quite. Like a very aquatic-looking creature, and I just really, really liked it, especially with all the little black circles added. And something you'll notice in my sketchbook, I do a lot of framing because I find that very, very attractive, especially if you're drawing something that's not necessarily a whole piece. Just the composition, I feel, is very aesthetically pleasing to have something that's framed, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be framed all the way around. It just kind of adds this completedness to the piece that I feel like if you just left it alone, it wouldn't have. Over here, I had designed some ideas for my business card. I did end up going with this one and colored it digitally. I think now I'm ready for new business cards, and I haven't even gotten rid of half of the ones I have. I feel like that's always how it goes. Every year, I want to get a new business card, but Vistaprint has such good ass deals. Not sponsored. So I end up ordering 500, and then I'm like, what am I going to do with 500 business cards? I barely talk to anyone. What is my life? The story with this little thing, he's over here.
Lump spider that doesn't have any legs, but it's got wings so it can fly.
It was this little creature I designed, and this is not a good redrawing of it. It's like a tarantula with no legs and like a beanbag butt and little wings. And that's how he gets around. He just like floats. And Mike was like, well, what happens when he's not floating? And then we started talking about, well, what if he just like thump, 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 thump,
just hopping on its butt.
Like, to quote my husband, that is how this thing moves around when he's not floating. Which, when would that be? Yes, maybe sleeping, but he like bean bags over when he's sleeping. He's not moving when he's sleeping. Unless he's sleepwalking. And then he floats. Like, when would he not float? If you could float, when would you not float? When would you use your legs? I don't care if your fucking muscles would atrophy. When would you use your legs? This actually became a painting. And over here we just have a little sketch of a bird skull. I saw this really interesting Korean woman with this interesting haircut one time, and I tried to emulate that, and then drew a skeletal arm with some champagne. Just kind of went to town with highlighters. Another painting right here with one of my all-time favorite quotes is, you never really see how toxic someone is until you breathe fresh air, or you take a breath of fresh air. I've seen it both ways. And this rings true for me. You know, someone can be toxic for you and not necessarily be a bad person. I think everyone can be toxic in some kind of way. And I was in a relationship for many years and realized that person as a spouse was toxic for me, but as a friend was fantastic. So that actually did become a painting, but I didn't put the quote there. It was just a pretty straightforward painting. I actually don't know where this is right now, and that's gonna bug me. And Emily, My Little Pony. You know something's an Emily something because it has these thick Eugene Levy brows. Praise Brooke Shields. Praise Cara Delevingne. Some sphinxes. None of them really turned out anatomically sound. So, Mew from Space Dandy, possibly one of my all-time favorite anime characters ever. I'm not a cat person. I used to be when I was younger, but I'm really not. I think cats are really beautiful, like in their appearance, and they're very graceful in the way they walk. But having a cat as a pet, I've never just been a huge fan of. Busy work over here, and again, it was running out, so I just kind of drew this kabuki, Cruella de Vil, Disney villain-looking woman. I guess a dragon, kind of dopey dragon. And then this was the design for my cheap art supply video. I'm thinking about doing another cheap art supply video at some point. Over here, this was going to be a painting, and it is on watercolor paper and almost done. But halfway through, I just decided I just really didn't like it. And I know one of the things that I push all the time is never stop working on your piece. You can't overwork a piece, but you want to continue and at least finish it before you write it off. But every now and again, I'll just know a piece isn't going to work. And this was one of them that just wasn't going to work. I like it better as a sketch, and I think it probably would look better with like a gouache background and watercolor front than all watercolors. And then over here is my Captain America sketch for a video I did. I made a huge mistake on the arm over here, or one of the arms, and the arms just ended up being just massive, and the other one was just stumpy. And that, I have a problem with that so much, with not having my limbs be equal sizes. I'm sorry, but like, I love flat tops. I know it, very 90s. There's something about a man with a flat top that is just so sexy to me, and I don't know what it is. I just think it's sexy. This is a concept I definitely want to go back to. I love the way I did this. I could work on the background, but yeah, a get well balloon attached to the inside of a fawn. I just think that is something about the image and something about what I draw. I like there to be like an air of bizarreness to certain styles, because I feel like I have a style that I always kind of come back to, but especially on my YouTube channel, you guys see just such a wide variety of me trying out a bunch of different things. I know of a couple artists that I really, really adore, but I think they could spread their wings a little bit more, and I don't want to be smushed into just a niche. I want to be able to kind of try everything. But this is the kind of style that I kind of come back to, where it's kind of very storybook-esque, very Peter Rabbit-esque, Little House on the Prairie, kind of something calm about it. But I also realize like there's some kind of aspect of creepiness to everything I draw. And I do want to come back and focus on what I've grown up drawing for a little bit, but I definitely never want to stop expanding.